So hello everyone and welcome to DevJam. This is our interactive discussion around all things DevOps and DevSecOps. And today we're going to be focusing on a really critical topic, proactively securing your software supply chain. We want this to be a conversation, so please use the chat to drop your questions in as we go and we will answer them. I am thrilled to be joined by an expert from the front lines, David Cohen. David, welcome. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do as a senior security researcher?
Thanks, Jess. Hi everyone. I'm David Cohen. I'm security researcher for JFrog Security, and my team and I spend our days hunting for new threats in the open source ecosystem. So NPM, PyP, and all that reverse engineering malwares and looking for new techniques the attackers are using against your code. So the NPM ecosystem is very kept us very, very busy those days.
And I'm Jesse Holdsworth, a solutions architect here at JFrog. My job is to take the threats David's team uncovers and help build a resilient strategy for our customers to stop them. So David finds the what, and I help with the how to block it. So David, as I mentioned, we're here because of the constant stream of supply chain attacks. So specifically, I'd like us to talk about the recent NPM breaches. Can you tell us what's really happening out there?
Okay, so first, NPM is very, very active, very active ecosystem. So just in the last few months, we got several major attacks against NPM. The first one was NX package hijacking. So if you don't know what is hijacking, it's like NX is a famous popular package that you have on NPM, and hijacking the package means that you have some attackers who released a new version of an NX package with malicious code inside. And this was a very nice attacks because NX is used in GitHub a lot on GitHub Action and everything, and they were stealing a lot of credentials and were exposing private GitHub repositories. So it was the first attack, and it was very it make a lot of noise because it's critical attack. The second one is a chalk attack. So this one was big, and it's very interesting because developers of maintainers of packages are very familiar with phishing email, and suddenly you have one good phishing email that all the maintainers got lured by it, and they gave all the credential to the attackers. And finally, you got a week after you had like attackers publishing malicious version of 20 packages and with 2 billion weekly downloads, which is huge. And he tried to steal credential and crypto, but was fortunately caught. And finally, the phishing email was a lot more sophisticated than the actual malware. Fortunately for us. Then you had another one. So in 3 months, you got like 3 different attacks. And this one was like a following of the Chalk attack, I think. So it's a Shai Hulud, another attack that hijacked a lot of very popular packages. It's more than 200 packages, popular packages. And the goal was also to steal credentials.
So 2 billion downloads a week. I mean, that scale is just hard to comprehend. It feels like every week there's just another new story. So why NPM? What makes it such a huge target for attackers?
So for that, I think attackers are very happy of NPM. They love it. So first, because it's very popular, it's the largest public software registry. So you have more users, so more attacks. It's like the attackers want to invest in something that works and as a like can infect a lot of computers. And then you have, each packages have a set of dependencies. And if you have, as an attacker, if you find how to hijack one of those packages, you can impact a lot of packages. So it's very, interesting to invest in popular packages like Nx. Um, then you have also in npm when you install a package, you can execute any code inside, like during the installation of the package, and it's a very good feature. But attackers love to use this legit feature to for malicious purpose. And then in npm you have maybe once like the most funny things for attackers is the typo squatting. So you love to, when you a developer, you're typing the name of the package that you want to install, and instead of writing React as it's written, you're adding an additional T, but find as the last letter, and then you have you install a complete different package.
So to summarize the problem, we have a massive critical ecosystem where it's easy to trick developers, and a single bad package can infect thousands via their dependencies and even automatically run code on install. I mean, this seems like a nightmare for DevOps and security teams. I mean, so David, the obvious next question is, what can we do and how do we protect ourselves from this sort of threat?
Yeah, it's a very good question. Just thanks for the question. So first, we have the standard advice that check package popularity and run the package in a sandbox and everything. It's very standard and also manual, and they don't scale finally. So if you want a real solution, effective solution, you need something automated, a programmatic solutions that sit between you and the public registry, like a proxy, that can validate every single package before it's downloaded in your system, and even allow you to configure a policy to install package after a week, for example. So you need some kind of systems that are like more than a proxy and have or backed by a researcher team, which is a great additional thing for this proxy.
And yeah, that's the shift. You can't just react to a breach after it's already in your system. We need to be proactive and stop the malicious package from ever getting in the first place. And that is really the entire philosophy behind JFrog Curation. So this is a great time to show you what it looks like in practice. I'll go ahead and share my screen and let's walk through how curation acts as that automated guard for your software supply chain. So here I'm in the JFrog platform here. As part of the JFrog platform, we have Artifactory, which acts as your universal repository manager for all the different types of artifacts within your software supply chain, everything from NPM to Maven, Java, Ruby, etc. All of your artifacts can be managed by Artifactory here. And as we've been talking about, to help mitigate the threat around malicious open source dependencies, we have this curation capability here, which again acts as sort of like a filter that your open source dependencies are going to need to pass through in order to be downloaded into your Artifactory remote repositories. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to create a policy within curation that is going to completely block these malicious packages from ever entering in our supply chain. So first, we'll give this policy a name. We'll set the scope. I am very opinionated here that no one should be using something that has been deemed as a malicious package at all. So I'm going to apply this policy across my entire organization. If you have other policies that may be more nuanced, you can scope them to specific teams. But again, I don't want anyone using malicious packages within my organization, so I'm going to apply this policy everywhere. Next, we're going to go ahead and select the condition for this policy. This is pretty easy. We're just going to select malicious packages. Now, the data that's really backing up this policy really goes back to all of the really hard work that David and his team is constantly doing. So whenever there's even maybe it starts out as a rumor that something may be either malicious or vulnerable, that's when David's team jumps into action. They're going to go into the code, basically reverse engineer it, and validate whether or not that finding is true. And of course, if we do deem that the packages are malicious, we will mark them as such. And that's what this particular condition is going to be checking for. If we want to, we can use labels to essentially allow exceptions to this policy. Again, no one should be using malicious packages, right? End of story. So I'm not going to do that. And then finally, we're gonna block this stuff at the front door. We're not going to allow it into our software supply chain whatsoever. And that's it. We save our policy. And now if we come over to my IDE here, what I'm going to do is just run a simple command to install the cores package, which is, I believe it's a popular middleware framework here. But just like that, I'm actually seeing that this request was blocked. And the reason why we can see here is because it's a malicious package. And we're given some advice to, remove the package and find something alternate. And, I might say to myself, hey, wait a second, I could have sworn I've used cores in the past. What exactly is going on here? Well, you can actually also use the JFrog platform sort of as like a Wikipedia for all things open source. So I can come in here and I can search for cores and I see, yeah, cores is indeed a popular middleware framework within the NPM ecosystem. But you know what? I must not have had enough coffee this morning because I accidentally typed in cores.js. And this really goes back to, what we just talked about a moment ago, David. There's some jerk out there that's typo squatting, right? They just published a malicious package that is very, very similar in name to something else that is, widely used across the NPM ecosystem. And just by a simple typo, or you can accidentally wind up including this malicious package into your framework if you don't have any sort of protection in place. And it looks like this is pretty bad. It's going to essentially open up a connect back shell and start sending data to this IP address here. Not exactly ideal. So again, with the curation capability, we completely stop this from A, from being downloaded into Artifactory, B, from being released to our developers on their workstation, and then also we're making sure it's not available for our CI builds as well. So this malicious package has been completely stopped from ever entering our supply chain. So just to touch again back on the policies we can create here within curation, the other policy I typically recommend folks implement to help stop these fast-moving supply chain attacks is one around immaturity. And what we mean by this is, again, really making sure that we're not necessarily pulling in the very latest versions of things that have maybe just been published moments ago, because we don't necessarily know yet if these artifacts could be malicious in some way. And so we actually have a few really nice out-of-the-box policies here. And of course, if you want to customize these, you can. But you can have a 2-day immaturity policy, a 14-day immaturity policy, or a 30-day immaturity policy. And if you select one of these, let's say I select the 14-day one, what this is going to do is it's also going to block any artifact that has been published less than 14 days ago. And again, this is really geared toward stopping these really fast-moving supply chain attacks where as soon as an attacker gets credentials to a popular open source component, they're going to immediately publish some malicious code into it. And they're essentially betting that lots and lots of folks out there are declaring latest as the version of the package that they want to resolve. That is then going to allow them to have potentially millions of downloads within a matter of minutes or hours here. So just by implementing these two policies around having a little bit of a cool off period for the artifacts coming in into our supply chain, as well as proactively blocking the packages that have been specifically flagged as malicious by David and his excellent research team here, this is exactly what has been protecting JFrog customers from this sort of threat. Now, just to touch on a little bit more with curation, you can also set up policies for just general vulnerabilities. These could apply to recent vulnerabilities disclosed against struts or log4j, etc. You can even have policies around keeping out certain types of licenses that your legal teams might not like GPL, AGPL, etc. So to recap, David showed us the threat landscape is active and sophisticated. We just saw how curation acts as a proactive policy-based guard to block these threats before they ever enter your software supply chain, all without slowing down your developers.
Thanks, Jeff. Actually, the threat is real and it's evolving. You need to assume that the attackers are targeting everybody, not only the big companies, but also everybody. So you have to be considered targeted by attackers, and you should not trust public repositories, and you should validate 100% of what you're downloading for your project.
Yeah, that's a great takeaway, David. For me, it's, don't make your developers the bottleneck. Give them a seamless experience that has security built in, not bolted on. And proactive security is what lets you move fast, safely. So thank you so much, David, for sharing those insights, and thank you all for joining this DevJam. If you have more questions or want to learn more, feel free to contact us or connect with us on LinkedIn or contact JFrog directly for a demo. We'll see you at the next DevJam.